Hi, Dr. Phil back with you again today. Today I want to talk to you about something that's very close to my heart and a pathway that I've experienced and walked. And that's talking about dementia and old age. Dementia is a very debilitating disorder, disease for both the person and the family or the friends. My experience with dementia is through my mum. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that story and the progression and ways that I navigated it, which might help you. So my mum was an incredibly independent, stoic, strong, single-minded woman for pretty well all her life until her mid-80s. And I started to notice that she was starting to get a little forgetful. Couldn't quite remember the names of people or things. She was starting to get a little confused. She couldn't remember where she'd parked her car. She wasn't able to acutely be aware of her surroundings. That confusion led to her leaving things on. So one day I went up to her house and the hot plates on the stove were on and water was running, and she just turned stuff on and she'd forgotten all about it, which is quite dangerous, and I thought it was dangerous. So my next progression of that was to be able to say, Mum, how about I look after you? How about you come down, I'll create a little aged care unit at the back of my practice and I'll look after you. So, with much frustration, she finally agreed to it because she realised that she did have the realisation that she wasn't doing as well as she could have. Now, the next stage that we experienced was anger, and she got quite angry and she would lash out for a period of time. Now, my take on that is that she is starting to lose a sense of her health and getting angry at herself that she can't remember, angry at herself that she wasn't able to maintain to her independence. But we got through that, right? We got through the anger phase. And then basically we moved into the lost phase. And I'd find that she would just sit for hours and just be staring, and she disappeared somewhere in her mind. So her disappearing act or getting lost was another one of those stages. And then the continual questioning. She would ask the same question time after time after time. And she could have asked it 20, 30, 40, 50 times. Now, as a carer, as a son, as part of her family, it could have got very frustrating. Now, different members and friends of mums and members of our family handled it differently. Some got very frustrated trying to correct her. I took the other side. I would just be creative and give her a different answer every time, because within the blink of an eye, she'd forgotten what I'd said anyway. So I became patient and would recount and answer the questions time after time after time. And if she said today was, for example, let's say it was a Monday and she said it's Friday. Yeah, Mum, yeah, it's Friday, it's a wonderful day. If she said it was black and it was actually white, oh, Mum, yeah, it's black, it's fantastic, it's black, or it's this, or if she thought she was in the 1930s or 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s, well, I just went with her where she was at. There were different times she confused me with her brother, her nephew, her uncle, my father, who'd passed away many years before. So the confusion. So I just went, had to run with that. And the key is, I think, running with them while keeping them safe. Now, when you're working with someone with dementia, you need to be calm, patient, kind. Don't try and correct them, because it will just lead to more and more frustration. Just make sure they're safe. Make sure they're in a safe environment, and and respect that they were once fully functioning, independent people, and just keep that at the back of your mind and treat them with dignity and care. And whatever you do, don't pour your frustration on them, because it just sends them into a spiral. Now, spiritually speaking, dementia, from the way I see it, is their soul and their essence is already testing leaving the body. It's testing part in, part out, part in, part out. And the further they go down the track, obviously the spirit is more out than in. And in my mum's final period of time in her life, she would just stare out, she would count roses on a rose bush. And it's a tough journey. I take my hat off to anyone who has to go through it. It is, if you care and love them, it's a very, very tough journey. But be kind, be considerate. And my other thing is, ask them lots of questions. Pull out your phone, secretly video them answering the questions, because you're going to get some great information of different decades in which they live, because they are actually mentally in those decades. And it will also give you something to look back on and hear their voice and see them when they've passed, because once they've gone, they're gone. And, no more hugs, no more conversations. But if you've got some videos, that'll at least be something to soothe your soul. I hope this helps. If you like this, hit like. If you would like to share it with other people, hit share. And if you want more from what I'm doing, please subscribe. Have a great day and be kind to humanity. Be loving and be generous. Thanks.